In this lesson, we will learn how to work with 3ds Max's schematic view. In the last lesson, we learned how to link or parent objects. Now, how can we visually see the hierarchies that are created when we do this? Well, this is where the schematic view can be very useful. Let's head over to Graph Editors and create a new schematic view. What we see here are a bunch of color-coded objects. These are essentially the objects that exist in our scene. Over in our display window, this will give us an idea of what each color represents. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of the display dialog. If you ever close it out and need to access it again, you can do so under the display menu. Simply choose display floater, and there it is. Okay, so let's bring our attention to these objects here. Now you can see at the very top of this hierarchy is our animation control. The reason being is because we have taken all of the pieces of our airship and we have made sure that they are all linked or parented to this main animation control. So this gives you an idea of the tree or branch that's created. And this is what a visual hierarchy looks like. So this is very useful when we need to figure out what pieces are connected to other pieces in our scene. So what we'll do in this lesson is use our schematic view to take a few of the pieces of our landing gear and make sure that they are parented to the piece that touches the platform. That way we can very easily control our landing gear and create a system that an animator can use to close or open this part of our aircraft. Alright, so this is going to be really fun. What we'll do is go ahead and select our aircraft. Let's head over to Group and choose Open so we can go ahead and select the pieces we'll need to link. We'll start with the landing gear in the center. So we'll go through and we'll start to select the pieces from our viewport. Let's go ahead and control click them. So we'll grab the pistons, pretty much everything here. I'm also going to grab this base piece because we'll need to link to it. It looks like everything. We could always double check our selection by pressing F3 just to make sure that all objects that we need selected are highlighted. It looks like there's just one object that needs to be selected here. It's this rod that connects the two pistons. Alright, so with all pieces selected, what we could do now is go to our schematic view. Let's use the middle mouse button to pan. And we could use Control Alt and the middle mouse button to zoom in, or we could simply scroll. If we press the Z key here, it's a fast way to kind of zoom into these objects. So take a look. We now can see all of the objects that we have selected. Let's go ahead and pull them down so we can work with them a lot easier. Alright, great. So once we've pulled them down, now we can go ahead and find this base piece. Here it is. And we'll go ahead and bring this over. So we're going to make sure that just the base piece is selected, and we'll just go in and slide it so that it's right above the other objects. This isn't necessary to create a link. I'm just doing this so we could visually see the hierarchy we're about to create. Now watch this. It's a lot faster to link all of these pieces. We can simply go in and select them from here. And now we'll go ahead and grab our connect or link tool, and we'll drag from there to our landing object, the one that again touches the platform. So notice all of these pieces have now been relinked to this landing pad. So watch. With the landing pad selected, if we were to head back over to our viewport, press the W key and start to move this, you can see that all of those pieces will now follow. Very exciting. So what would we need to do next? We then want to make sure that we freeze transforms on all of these objects so we could always get back to this initial state. So we have a few options. With our parent piece, the landing pad selected here, we can hold down Control and use page down to grab all objects in this hierarchy, or we can simply go ahead and highlight them from our schematic view. Either way, with them all selected, we'll now go to our viewport, Alt right click and choose Freeze Transform, and now we'll choose Yes. Alright, beautiful. So now as we start to animate these pieces, if we need them to move back to the neutral position, we'll simply Alt right click and choose Transform to 0. Very nice. Now I showed you a cool hotkey for moving down a hierarchy and grabbing all objects. If we were to go back to, let's say, our landing pad here, this landing gear piece, with that selected, if we were to press page down, notice we're able to move one level down in hierarchy. If we were to select one of the pieces that have been connected to this landing piece here and press page up, this is a way to move up in hierarchy. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the select tool. I'll just go ahead and select one piece here. There we go. Once it has been selected, if we use page up, notice it will send us one level up, and that will grab this piece that we have parented the landing objects to. Alright, so those are some hotkeys that you might find very useful. Let's go ahead and take what we've just learned to take care of the gear at the front of our aircraft. So again, we'll go through and we'll select all pieces. That will be the end of this lesson once we've managed to take care of our linking work for these objects. You don't want to forget that rod that connects the piston, so let's go ahead and select all of these objects. And again, in our schematic view, we'll just go ahead and pan, and then we'll press the Z key to zoom into these objects. From there, we can go ahead and drag them down so they're easier to work with. Next, let's go ahead and select the landing piece that touches the platform. And we're going to go ahead and drag that so it's above those other objects. And now we have a very convenient way to link to that object. Alright, so all we need to do now is select all of those other pieces that need to be linked. We'll grab our link tool and we'll go in and link to the landing piece. Alright, wonderful. So we'll test this out. We'll go ahead and grab that landing piece and start to move it around, and everything follows. If you would ever like to disconnect or unlink an object, it's just a matter of selecting that object to unlink and using the disconnect or unlink tool here. Now it's no longer a part of that hierarchy. So we can clearly see what has been left behind. It's one of the pieces of our piston. Alright, so I'll go ahead and undo back to make sure that that has been relinked. So remember, the next step is to select the landing piece, hold down Control and press page down to grab the rest of the hierarchy here. And now, in the viewport, we'll Alt right click and choose Freeze Transform. Beautiful. Alright, so in this lesson we have learned how to work with 3ds Max's schematic view. It's a way of visualizing the hierarchies we create in 3ds Max. It's also a way of creating hierarchies, which is really neat, very useful.